into positions of hopelessness and helplessness. The government gives them the drugs, builds bigger prisons, passes a 3-strike law, and then wants us to sing God Bless America. No, no, no. Not God Bless America. God damn America. That's in the Bible for killing innocent people. God damn America for treating us citizens as less than human. God damn America as long as she tries to act like she is God and she is supreme.
All right, we're ready to go. I just hacked up a bunch of bullshit.
Jake's just having a minor heart attack.
Just hacked up a lung, baby. Run on 4 hours of sleep. Was up all night closing the bar. Some libertarian guy with a boomer ponytail was telling me how cool Glenn Greenwald was. It fucking sucked. But we're here. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Pod Damn America, the Gothic Socialist podcast. It's Halloween season. I'm Jake Flores. Anders Lee is here.
Anders Lee. Yeah.
Oh, fuck. No, it's wrong. I thought we had the Halloween soundboard.
No, the laugh track was appropriate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coming to you live from a studio audience.
That's technically the laughter of the dead. It's probably a bunch of
God.
old, what do you call it?
Ghosts?
Public.
It's like public domain actors.
Most laugh tracks are dead people because they reuse them from the 1950s.
That's fucked up, man. I was watching Homeward Bound not that long ago, and I was like, dude, every animal from every movie I watched as a kid is now dead, dude.
Wow.
Andrew
Hilary is here from
up?
the worst week ever.
Worst week yet, dog.
Worst week yet. Fuck. Listen.
Worst week so far.
Yeah.
Oh, right. That's the joke. Every week is the worst week yet.
Hey, this week it's shaping up to be just the same, so it's fine. Everything's good.
Andrew Hilary from I Love the 80s is here.
Andrew Hilary from Thinking About Death and Dying is here. What's up? How's it going?
The Dead Animals podcast keeps track.
I think they did kill a bunch of animals when they made that, right?
Oh,
You're
fuck.
thinking of Milo and Otis, I think.
Oh.
Yeah. Those animals are certainly dead. They're way dead.
Yeah.
Did they do fucked up shit to him? On the set?
That's I don't know if this is actually confirmed, but that's like the urban legend. They filmed it somewhere, Japan, I think, where like the animal safety regulations on film sets are not so tight, and there was a waterfall scene where they needed to film a cat falling off a waterfall. And they were just like,
wait a second.
just fucking playing.
They're just like, bring a few today because this is going to take a minute to
Have you
get.
seen that movie recently? It's batshit.
No.
There's a live cat birth scene. You like see it like pop out. There's like this like blood explosion. It's
In Homeward Bound? Wait.
no in Milo and Otis.
Oh, Milo and
Yeah.
Otis.
That's a cat and a dog are friends and they need to go somewhere, right?
Or something. Yeah.
Man.
I just thought Homeward Bound was called that because it's like the movie Bound and the animals are lesbians. And from Self-Worst podcast, Brad Pearson. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
What's up? I got your podcast right. I'm on 4 hours of sleep.
I thought you were going to
It's-
say self-ever.
Yeah. I mean, it's two words.
Worst
It's a lot.
self ever.
From the Self Suck podcast, Brad Pierce. The podcast where every week we meet and talk about strategy for Self Suck.
We'll get there one
Can
day.
I just say before we leave this thread, the laughter thing? I'm surprised that it's from the 50s because it seems like one of those articles. That seems like one of those like that you would have one of those clickbait articles that would be like, you wouldn't believe how people laughed in the 1950s, and you click it and everyone's like, oh, it just sounds completely different from today.
Fucking cool.
That's the transatlantic laugh or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, that's one of those weird things where I don't know how I'm going to end that sentence. Fuck, never mind.
Edit that out, Gravy.
weirdest thing yet.
The weirdest thing ever. Andrew Hillary's podcast. With Pete Holmes.
You made it the weirdest thing ever.
All right. So the reason we are gathered here is to discuss what we did the other night, which is went to an NYPD funded haunted house. I found this on Twitter because I follow a lot of cops for reasons. The NYPD has a very funny Twitter accounts, they're either just being extremely dour and serious about cops that were killed years ago. They just tweet about that a lot. Or they're like, come to our bake sale and our fucking whatever. And, or they're yelling about cancel culture and shit. But, so the NYPD, one of the largest standing militaries in the world, decided to throw a haunted house in Tottenham, which is a part of Queens. They all live in like outer borough kind of suburban neighborhoods in New York. Cops.
Like places that were grandfathered into New York City so cops could live there. Because it used to be you were not allowed, and I'm related to a cop who would break this law. You were supposed to live in the city limits, and it was illegal to live outside and come in. But they changed that.
Yeah. So now they all commute to from fucking Tottenham, which is like on the weird top part of Queens. So I don't know. The reason I guess I thought it was kind of funny is because of like the police budget discourse. Because as we've discussed a lot on the show, every politician of every stripes thing they use to sort of gin up, what do you call it, votes and support is that we just need to give more money to these, angry people with guns. I don't know, for some reason, like people just love that shit. So I thought it was really funny that there's any like argument that they don't have enough money, and then they see them and they're like, we built an extreme haunted house. Like, come on out. I started looking into it, and I thought it was going to be like extreme. It was, I would put this in the Spirit Halloween, like new metal level of haunted house, but it wasn't like we're going to dunk your head in a bucket of water. Extreme. But it was just very funny because I guess there's one cop whose idea this is, which is usually how haunted houses work, is that there's one middle-aged man with a lot of stuff to work out who's like, no. Make sure my name's on the sign. This is my creation. And he specifically put out that it is not for people under 12. This is not for children. Yeah. And
PG-13 house.
Yeah. And he said that it's going to be a little bit, it's for a little bit of older crowd. It's a little bit edgy, and everyone should come out. And I think my favorite thing about it is probably that there's a big sign when you get there that says, if anyone touches you in the haunted house, and they're all cops, if anyone touches you, it was unintentional. Which is, I've been thinking about this for the last 2 days since we did this. You can't do that because you can't preemptively say if anything happens, it's your fault. The haunted house that the police threw has qualified immunity.
It is the closest they have had to setting up just boundaries with people and just like, we're not going to lay hands on people.
Yeah, well, you can tell they're trying real hard.
They really want to.
Anyway, let's talk beat by beat through the experience of going to a house of horror.
NYPD haunted house. Boo Lives Matter.
I think it was called like Terror on Tottenham or some shit. The neighborhood we all know and love. I looked it up, and apparently there was one in Bushwick years ago, but for some reason they're not throwing it again. Probably a good reason. Who knows?
The rent here is crazy,
Yeah, that's like a weird location, the Bushwick police station over there. I don't know. But yeah, so let's see. We drove out there. It's pouring rain.
Yes.
Jake forgot a coat.
Yeah, I left my hoodie. Well, I was maybe subconsciously like, don't wear a hoodie around the police or something. I had a lot of weird, like, I don't know, things going on like that mentally when we got there, because at one point I thought we should pull over and like chug a Four Loko or something. That is what you do when you do something like this for the bit. But then the more I kind of thought about it, I was like, if you I mean, this could have not been a haunted house. We could have just showed up and it was just like entrapment for DUIs and shit because everyone like
they breathalyze you the minute you get out of the car.
Yeah, and it would have been it's a clown breathalyzes you and then you have to blow into a horn or something. But like I was like I think I know what's going to happen, but on the off chance they did actually pull people over, I would be like, you have no one to blame but yourself. Yeah. For going to the police station and then just reeking of like energy drink booze.
Right, because if you smell like weed, it's probable cause or something. I had a kratom on me, and I decided to leave it in the car because I could, I imagined going up there and be like, "Oh, you brought me coffee." But seriously, dude, let me get a sip. But what the fuck is this? What is this guy drinking? Yo, my nephew does this. He's on heroin. Let's fucking... And then they get thrown in jail for a week.
Yeah.
I want to say right off the bat, I was very disappointed. The NYPD game truck was there, but it was not open for business. Yeah. I was so ready to play some Dreamcast or whatever the fuck, man.
Also, they were taking a Union 5, which is actually that was more like 15.
That was the most cop
That was
thing
a
ever.
long fucking break. We got there and as soon as we get to the door, the guy at the door is like, "Oh, we just went on break, so you guys are gonna have to like go stand under that tent." Which at least they had a tent, like a rain tent for us to stand under.
Yeah, it was pouring rain.
It was pouring.
I'm on break thing was like, well, of course you're not even gonna do the thing. Wait, hold on though. You talked about this on Worst Week of All Time. What is the NYPD game truck?
This is another thing that they add more money to the police budget, and like there's only so much like fucking bazookas you can buy for each like fucking fat New Jersey guy or whatever. So like they have all this extra money. They're like, let's do something to like build community outreach and support. Why don't we turn like a trailer RV into like just a chill game zone, dude? And like they just like would drive to like lower income neighborhoods and be like, "Hey, you want to come play video games on the cops' dime?" Like, what?
Yeah, that's like a very divorced dad approach to like, how do I make people like me?
That's the opposite of everything that we've been told about stranger danger our whole fucking lives.
Come into this windowless trailer and play this.
Hey, I got video games in this big weird truck, kids.
That's how John Wayne Gacy killed people. Or like the toy box killer. Okay, so we got there. Eventually, we get in. There's a Jersey cop guy. I'm walking here, cop.
Yeah.
And the first thing he said, he looked at us and he went, "There's no running allowed in here." I don't have to worry about that with you four.
Fucking roasted.
What does that mean?
Yeah. I mean, I guess everyone else there was like 16 or something, but like I could run from a werewolf, dude.
It's the two things you run from: cops and werewolves.
I think you just meant we didn't seem like we'd be easily scared. So,
is that you guys? You look like very tough boys.
Yeah.
As the skinniest person here, I bet that's what you thought.
I guess, yeah.
It's all in my ass.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So he's like walking us down the hall.
Yeah,
like,
he was giving us the rules.
Rundown.
He let us know that all the actors were all the actors were cops. All the twisted clowns or whatever skeleton people who are gonna pop out and go boogie boogie boogie. They're all police officers.
Yeah.
There was also like no phones.
No phones.
Which is kind of disappointment because I wanted to take photos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should have went through with the body cam on.
Yeah.
And then
Well,
the woman from The Ring attacked me.
In theory, they all are wearing body cameras as they do that thing. So
The other thing he was like real like into telling us that he's like, there are 16 rooms.
Yeah.
And like I don't like really have good context for that. I'm like, I can't be like, okay, how many rooms did the last haunted house I go to or went to have? Like, I'm like, 16 sounds like a number. I don't know if that's a lot or a little.
yeah,
Yeah,
depends
I
on how you
mean-
define room.
Right.
Yeah.
It was
Is
kind
a
of
hallway a room?
I think the hallways were rooms. I didn't count. I mean, it didn't seem that long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the weird warp tunnel? Is that a room? The little twisty tunnel that you go through in the beginning?
I
know.
almost didn't make it through that motherfucker.
Well, you drank some of the kratom.
I had like 2 sips of kratom. We went through the warp tunnel. I crumpled like a baby deer, dude.
People, it was like before we even got in, you were already. I can't
People throw up when they try to hang with Anders Kratos. So I was like, well, this is when it's going to happen.
That would have been the best.
Right. I should have, instigated that.
Yeah, we were on the drive and Jens were saying like, oh, people that do kratom, sometimes they throw up. And I was like, of all the places to throw up on my birthday, the cop haunted house is probably the best story.
Vomit on a cop dressed as Leatherface.
Yeah, that would have been awesome. You should have taken syrup of Ipecac and all gone in like, hello. Yeah, so I guess what was like interesting after that is, so you go through that tunnel, you walked into that hallway and there were like these like weird video window things, and like in the video a guy's banging on the window and then like air would shoot out of it. Actually, what was really funny
it was like a weird spray. It was like a blood spray, but it was just water.
It was Narcan.
The spray would hit you like the air burst would hit you to approximate simultaneously what was happening in the video, which is like a zombie would be like up, kind of like banging on the window at you, and then from behind him a police officer would pull out a fucking rifle and just brain him. Which, like, I guess just because it's zombies or whatever, the violence is somewhat toned down. I just kept imagining like anyone who's had like PTSD from having the cops shoot their dog or whatever, like going through this would be really traumatizing. But I don't know what the narrative there was supposed to be. I think it was the only time I saw a cop in the fiction of the haunted house. Was when he was like shooting a zombie in the back of the head. The zombie's head blows up, and then you get hit with air real quick to go. To make you feel like you're in
I mean, that was just like an off-brand Rick Grimes, right? I think that was like a pre-recorded. I don't know if they actually shot that video or whatever.
That was actually like a 1980s PSA, but they just added the zombie makeup in post. It was just like a guy walking down the street before.
Yeah, it was, this man has done marijuana, and this is what could happen to you.
They just put a Snapchat filter on it.
Yeah.
And you don't know what the air is. Like, it seems, I mean, it's just air ultimately, but it seems... Before it hits you, you're like, is that just like a stinky, is it like a synthetic fart or something that they're like doing?
Would have been a great bit, honestly, if it smelled bad. Like, not if it was actual poison, but like just what's inside of like
that
a
could be a
fart
whole other
bomb or
thing. You're
something.
just not a haunted house, but just a real stinky house. Just the smells get worse and worse.
That is a real thing, and I've lived there before. My mom was a hoarder. It's fine. Everything's fine.
We should talk about the artistry of the hallway into the first place, because there's like that twirly, there's like,
which I've seen before. Honestly, this is a critique, I guess, and I'm not like a huge haunted house guy, but most of it was fairly standard haunted house fare. You know, there was the twisty tunnel. There were jump scares. It's mostly just jump scares.
Yeah,
which. It's fine. I think there's a difference between being scared and being startled. You know, that's just like a fucking limbic response, and you're like,
right.
Yeah, being startled, you just mostly start laughing immediately after. Being scared, you're like, I don't like it here.
Yeah.
Well, everyone, like, when people were tweeting about this, was like, oh, what's a cop haunted house? Is it just rooms full of like one bag of fentanyl or like a black teenager or whatever? But I think the jump scare thing is... Cops are always saying, like, I shot that man 17 times because he startled me or whatever. Yeah. So it's like, that tracks for what
they should have done is given us all a gun and be like, you just try and get through here without shooting somebody. See how hard it is. See if you don't want to just shoot at whatever comes out of the shadows.
There should have been a cop at the end that's like, and see, this is what we go through every day out there on the street.
Yeah, it'll make you learn your lesson. This is basically like the police training thing. Is they put them through the haunted house,
like in Men in Black. Shoots a little girl.
In The Simpsons, where you have to shoot you miss the baby and the blind man. The little cardboard guys pop out.
I will say I did not like. There's always like they always have noisemakers whenever they do the jump scares, but here they had like. Detached car horns.
Yeah,
like it was so intense.
I thought it was an air horn, but it was because it wasn't nearly as loud as an air horn. Air horns are like ear splitting when you're up next to them.
Yeah,
it sounded like a car horn. Yeah,
I think
They were very annoying.
Yeah, I did, and they were in every fucking room. And I was in the back, so I was just watching all yins get scared. Like nobody was coming for me because I was at the end of the train. But,
I was at the beginning, by the way. I was the fucking brave, intrepid leader of the pack going into every room, just like, okay, here we go.
Start calling you Brave Brad.
Yeah, it's true.
Every actor in the thing had the same little horn / like I feel like they were also shooting the air or something. I don't know. It's hard to tell what they were, but it was very much like a substitute for a gun.
Yeah.
I did.
They wanted
to
shoot us.
There was definitely one with a taser that was just like shooting. I was like, that's a pretty good bit, I guess.
Yeah, there was a cop with a taser chasing people around. Also, like when we got there was a cop with a Michael Myers getup on, chasing a bunch of kids around, like as they came out of the thing.
Yeah.
Never saw him again, but I remember when they went on break, his like posture changed, and he just started like slowly, like, all right, I'm on break.
Yeah, he's like, okay, fuck it.
I was just watching Michael Myers take a union break.
Really broke character.
There were also on our way in. There's a mom and her son walking past, and she said to us, "Enter at your own risk."
Oh, Andrew, you said that you overheard one of the other patrons
Bro.
or something say something really crazy.
This was so fucked up. So we're walking through the rooms, and at one point there was a casket with like a dead woman inside of it, or like a dead like corpse, whatever. And there were two black dudes behind me, and the one said to the other one, "Oh, dude, that's Brianna." And like, I was
Oh
like,
my God.
"What the fuck did I just hear?" I was like,
Jesus Christ.
that's the wildest joke I've ever heard somebody make. Like, I don't
know. Maybe they just went to a girl named Brianna's funeral and they were processing it. I don't know. When you're a teenager, you go to your first funeral. It's really hard to see somebody in a casket and then it's jokes.
Yeah, way to psychologize it.
I do have a mental health podcast, so
I don't think it was that. I
I'm gonna
guess. I just think it was the gnarliest joke somebody's ever made at a haunted house. But yeah, I was like, I don't even know how to react. I'm gonna like plug my ears for the rest of this haunted house. I don't want to hear anything else this dude says. Like,
Yeah. Probably best not to get involved in that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. So there were just like a bunch of standard rooms with there was like a clown room. There was an ice cream man.
there was a
ice cream,
haunted
yeah.
ice cream man. I was like, hey, that's me in 30 years.
there was a werewolf room. There was a Samara coming out of the well, which was pretty well done. Not bad. She was doing the little, the weird crawl walk thing.
Yeah.
Well done. Good job.
There was a very short monster, which I just couldn't stop thinking about who the cop was inside of all the costumes.
Oh yeah, I couldn't tell if that. Well, maybe when I was a kid.
Maybe. I don't know.
The one thing that this haunted house had that I've never experienced before was the inflatable walls hallway.
Oh yeah.
Like they were like airbags that were puffed out so that there was just like a tiny little gap in the middle. Or like if you weren't standing there, like they touched. So like you had to like squeeze through these things and like, oh, that was really off-putting because like you couldn't see anything.
That I think was the only part like that I thought was like kind of original and was like, oh, this is actually really viscerally uncomfortable, disturbing, and like like I don't like this part, which is good.
Yeah. Because at the other end, it was like, is there going to be a cop party boying us?
Yeah, but they didn't there was nobody on the, I kept expecting it and there was nobody on the other end because somebody came out of there and then, they do the and they blow the air horn, whatever. And then they just started pointing at it. And I was like, you want me to go in there? Like, cause it was sometimes a little unclear. I walked off stage a couple of times, like took the wrong turn and there were just cops in like plain clothes, like, pointing the other way.
Yeah, they were all over the place. Like when we went up to the staircase, there's that dude with the ponytail. It was like, oh wait, okay.
Oh yeah,
go.
the girl dressed like the Mad Hatter was just like, hey guys, where you going? And I was like, where the dude pointed us to? Like, what are you? Aren't y'all on walkie? Come on.
Yeah, it kind of ruined the suspension of disbelief.
Yeah.
The amount of plain clothes officers rolling around. Just Jerry Orbach having a cigarette and coffee, strolling around the set.
Very confusing.
Yeah.
It should have been. We should have gone in there in like Spirit Halloween cop costumes.
Oh yeah, we could have infiltrated them.
Just walked in and stolen the police gold from the break room or whatever.
I went as Lieutenant Dangle from Reno 911 to a Halloween party one year.
I see that.
And I didn't get wasted, but I did have a couple beers, and I was like driving home, and I was thinking like, dude, what if I get pulled over dressed as a cop? Like,
That's illegal, isn't it? To impersonate an officer or whatever.
It's like obviously I'm not, but like that's the kind of thing like they could say I was. Like that's just like, kind of how cops work. They're like, you know what? Let's take this guy down. Those short shorts look terrible on him. Like, yeah. Also, whenever I got to the party, I knocked on the door. People thought I was a real cop and like started running out the back. It was very funny.
Yeah, it's getting less and less funny every year.
Yeah. This is like 2010, maybe something like that.
Yeah,
it was a while back.
Before Ferguson. Yeah, I don't know. So then the rest of it was pretty standard boilerplate stuff. But I just remember like at the end of it, looking at all of it and thinking like this costs so much money. Like they have unlimited budget, so they went to wherever you buy stuff when you make. There's got to be like one depot or catalog or whatever when you make a haunted house.
Yeah, what do you think the budget? Like, let's all play amateur line producer here and estimate like what they spent on that.
I want to say 10 grand. Maybe more. I was looking up. I've been trying to find out how much of the NYPD budget is community affairs. Mm-hmm. And I mean, maybe it's listed somewhere, but I can't find it. But you do see things like they spend $4.5 million a year on vest replacement. Which I presumably is bulletproof, but maybe not. Maybe
I don't know.
Like,
I think do they just get smelly because you wear them out in the summer?
Maybe.
And you can't, like, it's really just going to start getting funky in there in that Kevlar.
I guess you could just spend.
It looks so uncomfortable when they're walking around in like the sweltering train platform, and like you can tell that they're wearing a vest, and it's just like, bro, like that.
But couldn't you spend? I don't know.
I'd rather get shot.
$1 million on vest washing or something like that. Is there a more cost-effective way to do it?
I don't know. I mean, but you're right. Like this is community budget shit, right? Like at first when I started reading about this, I was like, oh, this is so annoying because it's like they're overfunded and how dare you, every time they ask for money, it's, oh, we shoot people because we don't have enough training. Then you find out they have like a margarita machine or whatever. You're like, well, why don't you use the money for this or that? But I don't know. I was kind of thinking about it afterwards and I was like, it's a pretty good haunted house.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to go and then do a podcast about how bad their haunted house was and be like, you are not as Halloweeny as me, motherfucker. You're a cop. But like, these are exactly the types of people that do stuff like throw these suburban haunted houses, and you could tell they were having a good time and stuff, and like,
they're getting paid for sure.
Oh yeah, they were on the clock.
It was, but it was free. For a minute, I thought they were going to charge us like tickets. I was going to lose my fucking mind, but it was free, and I was just thinking more like utopian style, like what if we actually had like a citizens, they work for us kind of thing, this is all they should be doing. Like, yeah, this would be fine if this is what tax dollars went to and not killing us and everything. Yeah. It was fun.
That was the thing. I wanted to go, like, part of me wanted to hate it, but I was like, this is actually just kind of charming and wholesome. And this is like, after you get done, there was like the cop, like at in the little debriefing room that was just like, hey, did you come last year? What'd you think? What'd you get? And he was like real proud of it. Yeah. And he was just like, oh, this is actually just kind of nice. I don't know. It was just like, oh, they're just being nice and they're just, being corny like dads with, spooky Halloween outfits and shit.
Yeah. I don't know.
I really wanted to know how it compared with last year.
Yeah.
I like the part at the end whenever the cop's like, do you want us to take your picture?
And we all were like,
for what?
Every one of us was like, dude, I kind of know. Like, what? But I thought they were
want me to shoot you?
Yeah. I thought they were like, yeah, we'll take this picture of you and print it out and it'll be $20. Like, I thought it was that kind of deal.
Yeah.
Right.
And then I saw them like just somebody handed them the phone and they took their pictures. So I'm like, oh, okay, maybe this. But then it's like the whole thing that's like, yeah, just hand your cell phone to a police officer.
I thought about that too. We were all like, oh, we didn't. And I was like, I wish you get the picture because like he did just take the photo and then
yeah.
If if we were getting like tracked by the police, it's already happening with like data and shit.
Yeah.
For a second, I was like, am I handing my phone to a cop? Like, don't go through my photos or whatever. But like nothing was going to happen at that point. They were all like relaxing.
I wanted to hand him my phone and just like show him all my dick pics. Just like open it to just like, what do you think about that, bro?
Yeah, scary. But like, it was so weird about the vibe there. It feels very weird to purposely go into a police station, you know, being somebody who's like, I don't want to get arrested by the cops. But it's actually, they all were in day off mode or whatever. So they were
just chilling.
Nothing's going to happen. And like, when I was handing him my phone, I was like, if I were to make a big deal out of this and be like, you know, don't fuck with my phone. I was just imagining the level of like cosplay that like Twitter anarchists, would get into and be like, this is an op, you know?
Yeah.
But it was just some fucking dumb guy who's just like, you had fun, right? And then he gave me my fucking phone back. I don't know. The whole thing just felt really weird because you have an intuition built on years of like what the police actually do. And then there's this other thing. And they switch between the two, like when they, you know, fucking break dance with the kids during protests and shit like that. But what's so annoying about it is like, if they didn't have guns and they weren't the police, this would all, there's like a sliver of this where I'm like, this would be fine, you know, if you were just a government worker or whatever.
Yeah. Publicly funded haunted house. That's what it is.
That's what I want. That's what this podcast is about.
Socialist haunted house. That's right up your alley, bro.
That's the future I want. So this is like so close to that in a way, you know?
Yeah.
But in like the darkest way imaginable.
Yeah. I mean, so statistically, someone in there actually killed somebody, you know?
Fuck.
I didn't even think about that.
Did you see that one dude jump out from behind the grandfather clock? He had a teardrop tattoo. That was crazy. Fuck.
Oh, man. No, I think it was cost way more than 10 grand, though.
Oh, yeah. It's like a couple
50?
$100,000 at least, I think.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of like, even if it's just like, you know, woodwork and stuff, like that shit always like well put together and stuff. And like all those costumes and makeup.
And it was one guy's brainchild. So, you know, it's like every year he adds more to it or something.
Yeah, it's like those guys who get way too into like Christmas decorations and they keep adding more shit.
Yeah, this is that guy.
Yeah.
That's who becomes a cop. It's like these weird, bored, middle-aged men, you know?
You know what I was thinking about is whenever I saw the game truck outside and then I saw like how much they put into this haunted house, I started thinking that like, I don't know if you've ever watched The Office. There was an episode of The Office where they had a surplus and they only had like one day to spend it. Mm-hmm. So they were like freaking out about what to do with the money. And I started thinking like the cop budget increases every single year. They have to spend all that money if they want to get more than next
they got
year.
a Brewster's Millions.
So this guy is like maybe one of the few people individually most responsible because every year he's like, oh, we have like $200,000 left. I can spend all that, maybe even a little more. I have an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that definitely costs a lot of fucking money. Not even counting the pay for the labor.
That should have been just like the last jump scare is just like a board that just says the amount. Here's how much is your tax. Yeah. Here's how much this cost. Boo.
Well, it's funny. It's sad too, but that, you know, this is mostly for kids and the money.
It's not though. It's for 12 and up.
12 and up.
True. Yeah. Depending on how you define child, but I don't know why that sounded so
old enough to get 12 bullets in the back. How about that?
But like a lot of the money for, well, not a lot, but
everyone going into the haunted house will be tried as an adult.
I mean, yeah, they probably had cameras all over the place. We're going to be included in like perp lineups, and if they need to have somebody like look like they're robbing a place, they have a photo of us. But a lot of money this year in New York City went from schools, public schools, to the NYPD. They cut the school budget for basically no reason.
And COVID relief. I was thinking about that the whole time, too. I was like, this should have been, oh, well, I guess it's this Leatherface guy now. That would have been like thousands of masks. Also,
Instead,
they
it's
were
just
all.
one.
This is the most cops you've ever seen wearing masks. That's another thing there.
Right.
Yeah, I don't know. So that was that. I don't really know what else to make of it.
We got to go back next year and see how much they recycle. Just be like, I already saw that.
Yeah,
It's the same twisty tunnel. Come on.
I'm gonna go back every year.
Make it a tradition.
Yeah.
They're going to really like get to know you. They're like, oh, it's Jake. Here he is again.
There was like a kid going through over and over and over again. I saw him in the line.
Yeah. I
That
heard
was pretty funny.
them say, "Let's go through again." I'm like, why would anybody do that?
It's free, I guess. I don't know. You
Yeah,
got nothing
fair.
to do. Drove up there.
Yeah, I don't know, but eventually, don't you stop? You know where all the guys are going to jump out from and shit. I don't know.
He just wants to get
But
through
that's the
without
thing with like
without-
people jumping at you because like I could see like figures approaching me and I knew that like it was coming and like it's still like there's still just like a hypothalamus kind of response where it's just like nah and so like I saw it coming, saw you right over there in the shadows, and then you like reach out to me, and I still jumped, and I'm still like, it's embarrassing. It's mostly just really embarrassing getting spooked.
I like the concept of a haunted house speed run where you just try and get through as fast as possible without getting scared.
Can't run though.
You're like 95% of the way, and somebody jumps out, and you're like, God damn it! You start over. Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
I wonder if they
read.
respawn in different places every time. Maybe that's how they keep it fresh.
Maybe.
I mean, they should do an escape room. That could be pretty gnarly too. Maybe that'll be next year.
That's jail.
yeah.
What else is happening besides the police haunted house?
Well, speaking of police pretending to be police, someone who's running for Senate in Georgia is doing a little Halloween trick of his own in his little costume. He is claiming to have been a police
A long
officer.
walk, man.
Herschel Walker, the former NFL bust star, who is running for Senate in Georgia, Republican nominee. He in the debate last night was accused of finally Warnock, the incumbent, threw a punch because he let the abortion thing totally slide. Herschel Walker was like, "It's a lie," and then he had this line about like, well, you said Black Lives Matter, but there's a lot of like black babies getting aborted in Atlanta right now, and it would have been like the perfect opportunity for Warnock to be like, yeah, and some of them you're paying for, and just would have like could have
Yeah.
dropped the
Jesus
mic and just been
Christ.
like, boom.
Oh, yeah.
I think it would have slayed.
He didn't bring up like the whole story at all.
No, the moderator brought it up once, and Walker was just like, it's a lie, it's a lie, which is, I don't know. He's taking
Democrats
the high
don't want to
road.
win. Like, come on, just say the thing.
I know. He was taking the high road. That was
Yeah,
frustrating.
no, you got to sweep the leg.
Yeah, but what he did finally do is because he was Warnock was accused of calling names to police officers, calling them mean names. And
Did they specify?
No, he just said you've been calling them names, and I don't, probably like you murdered a person, and that's like name calling, I guess. But he was like, well, look, I'm not the one who had a shootout with the police, which apparently is in one of Herschel Walker's memoirs or something, because has dissociative identity disorder, and then he says like, I'm also not somebody who has pretended to be a police officer, and then Herschel Walker just whips out a badge and starts talking about it. And one of the moderators is like, Sir, Mr. Walker, you know the rules of the debate very well. You know you're not allowed to have props.
They like told him.
Yeah.
It blows my mind. I did not know that was a rule in debate. You can't have props.
I guess in
Can
some...
you bring an instrument?
It depends on the place. I would think in like
guitar
Tennessee,
solo.
it's like Nashville. I would hope that they allow country music instruments.
As much
But-
as I hate guitar comics, I can't imagine a guitar politician.
Yeah. Can you bring one of those big like
Ukulele.
Dimitri Martin notepad board things?
How about a golden violin?
I mean, there's that guy in Texas, the rapper, who he had I don't know what he used. He had like a pre-recorded thing. You remember the guy who was rapping about Ukraine.
Is
We
that in
talked about it on the
Texas?
show,
Oh
yeah.
yeah, that
Oh
guy.
yeah.
I don't know. I think he went a cappella. Did he have
Really?
a
There was
beat
no
behind him?
beat? Jesus.
I don't know.
I think you're right. Yeah.
Well,
That
that
was
guy
so
wasn't
grueling.
a politician. He was like, what do you call it when you yell at a town hall? He was doing.
No,
like,
I think he was a city councilman.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I just remember he was like really bad at rapping, and he was always like, "My name is, and I'm here to say." Voice would crack and shit.
Yeah. Yeah. But anyway.
Does that just imply that Herschel Walker always has his badge on him?
Yes, he always has, and it's from I guess doing like a ride along or something.
So it's like when you are a kid on an airplane and
Yeah.
they give you the little pilot wings.
Yeah, he pulled out his pilot wings.
Yeah, I saw that they like made him like an honorary deputy or whatever, so that he could like speak at like police events or something.
right, and
Which is like, for you to still have that badge on you 15 years later is amazing.
well, it's going to be really funny to see because he's endorsed by every sheriff and law enforcement fucking piece of shit in Georgia, but they're going to have to cover for him, which I know is going to be hard. Number one, because he's black, and number two, because he's like stealing valor. He's saying that he's basically a law enforcement officer, and they I think probably hate to admit that to anybody, but they're going to have to. They're
Isn't that
gonna-
like some shit like Steven Seagal would do?
Yeah.
Like walk around pretending he's a cop.
yeah, it's Steven Seagal mode.
Yeah.
Actually, in Steven Seagal's case, it's a little different. He walks around and the rest of the world pretends he's not a cop. I don't understand what I'm going for there, but
Yeah,
I
I don't know
feel
what
it
that
in my
means.
heart.
All right.
We all know deep down he has a license to do whatever he needs to do.
Is he not one of those guys that they like deputized? Like, fuck. Did they do that to like Shaq? Am I crazy? Who am I thinking of?
I think they did do it to Shaq. Like,
Really,
I'd totally
one of those-
deputize Shaq. You want that guy on your team.
he's big. It was for one of
big.
those reality shows where like Dog the Bounty Hunter or something like that. But he's private, right?
yeah.
Who am I thinking of? No, there's a celebrity that they fucking they let do ride-alongs. It might be Steven Seagal. Fuck,
Yeah.
this is gonna drive me crazy. And then
No,
like
he did stuff with Joe Arpaio.
Shaq.
No.
No, Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal.
He did some cop show or something
Yeah.
with Joe Arpaio.
Right? Yeah.
What did Shaq do?
Oh, who am I thinking of? Fuck. This is definitely gonna come off racist because I accidentally said Shaq. But there's somebody that they fucking did like a raid with, and he fucked a bunch of it up. It might have been
Did you
Seagal.
mix up Shaq and Steven Seagal?
I mean, that's like the
not
oldest mistake in the
racist. That's just weird.
happens all the time. You ever see Shaq do
Weird
the
dudes
splits?
from the 90s.
There's a moment in there's this documentary I watched about editing, and Steven Seagal is in it, or he's talked about in it, because in one of his movies, apparently he wanted to help edit it without
God.
the permission of anybody else involved. And he shows up in the editing booth and is trying to like explain to the editor how to best capture the like martial arts move he's doing. And so he ends up putting the guy in like a chokehold just to like kind of demonstrate and like convey the feeling of a chokehold. Which
I mean, you've heard the main story about. I mean, there's a lot of stories about Steven Seagal, most of him, just sexually harassing and trying to rape people. But also, there's the one of he was on set with some. I forget the guy's name. He was a judo champion.
Shaq.
Yeah, it was Shaq, and Steven Seagal was running his mouth saying something like, "I'm immune to chokeholds. Like I can't be choked out. Like you just doing like saying some like Trumpy bullshit." And the guy, he's a black belt. He's like, "I think you're incorrect." And so he just like put him in a chokehold in front of everybody, and he passed out and shit his pants.
Wait, hold on. Okay, this is from the Phoenix New Times. Mm-hmm. According to beefy action film star Steven Seagal's former boss, beefy Jefferson Parish Sheriff Newell Norman. I think it was him I'm thinking of because it was in fucking New Orleans. Seagal is not on loan from Jefferson Parish, as Seagal asserted recently after a massive MCSO raid on a home in Laveen, where one suspect was nabbed for his alleged involvement in raising roosters for the purpose of cockfighting.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so he was involved in a cockfighting bust. Indeed, according to Sheriff Norman, who once played host of Seagal's A&E reality series, Steven Seagal, Lawman, the tough guy Aikido master resigned rather than face an internal affairs investigation by the JPSO into allegations of sex trafficking and sexual assault raised in a 2010 lawsuit by an ex-employee.
Wow.
Anything you read about Steven Seagal, it starts off funny and then it just gets really depressing because he's a like real fucking monster sexual predator and he just keeps getting protected. And like on this show, there were all these allegations coming up because he like crossed borders, like state borders, state lines with somebody who he was trying to fuck or something. And instead of like shutting the show down, and he just like moved it to a different state. Like it's just it's just real shitty.
Yeah, that's what this is. It says you worked with Arpaio on this.
Yep.
And then somebody accused him of sex trafficking and creating a hostile work environment by groping everyone. Yeah, all right, sounds about right.
The cockfighting thing makes me wonder what was happening in the basement of the haunted house. Because they're the NYPD. You know they must have some scam or like, thing going to make some dirty money off the top.
Yeah.
They must be doing something down there or in the attic.
Yeah, let's get a conspiracy theory going. We'll do QAnon, but good.
Also, Shaquille O'Neal was a reserve police officer in South Florida in 2015. So we were right. We were right.
Okay.
Shaq's a cop.
Did he bust anybody?
It said police officer reserve, so I don't. All I remembered was seeing a picture of him in like a cop outfit. That's like the extent of the story that I remembered. But I don't know if he ever like did anything. He was I can't read anyways. What else is going on?
I bet that was like a TV show thing where they were like, Shaq, we need you to keep the suspect in this vicinity. We don't have a door, so we're going to need you to do a basketball-style defensive maneuver.
Then he has to do a free throw, and he's like, oh. He's bad at them.
Yeah.
A police-involved missed free throw. All right, what else is going on?
Well, yes, so, yeah, I mean, oddly enough, it looks like Warnock is ahead in the polls because there's a lot of people in Georgia who are going to vote for Raphael Warnock and then vote for Brian Kemp, who's the governor, who's running against Stacey Abrams, who has been resurrected her campaign yet again after a very close 2018 run, is running again for governor, but he's like way behind. Part of the reason is because, as Democrats are wont to do, like all of her consultants and everything is now like out of state. So there are people who are just like giving her advice from like DC and shit. And, she, despite like running some like organizations statewide in Georgia, she like doesn't have, that much on the ground like help from her. She's basically loaned out her campaign to the consultant class, and it doesn't seem like that's going well.
Yeah. Stacey Abrams is getting to that point where it's like it's just kind of funny. If a Democrat runs and loses and then runs again and loses again, then it's just kind of funny. Like I don't know.
Beto syndrome.
There's a Beto,
yeah.
John Ossoff.
I don't know. I still feel really bad about like kind of every Democratic Senate race, at least. Like I don't know. Pennsylvania, like Fetterman and Oz should not be anywhere near as close as it is, and like it's just gonna take like one like big nationwide catastrophe like a week before the election to swing it. Like if gas goes up 50 cents or if some fucking stock market thing happens, like
celery,
it won't take much because like people are already like so squeezed tight that if something just gets like noticeably worse right before the election, and there's like 20 different things that are on the edge of that cliff right now. It's I don't know, like Dr. Senator Oz is like I don't think it's impossible.
Yeah.
Everything's like, oh no, there's, the Democrats could win in Pennsylvania. They might win in Ohio. They might win in, I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's possible, but like, I don't know. The polling, I never trust polling really. Like 2016, it was supposed to be a fucking landslide. Like, what?
Yeah, that's every fucking presidential race. They're like, yeah, they might even win Texas this time. It's so, and it's like, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. almost like they're trying to will it, making like a self-fulfilling prophecy out of it or something.
They're secreting it.
Yeah, they're manifesting.
Yeah.
It's good for them.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of strange that we have, that it looks as, because usually it's like on an off year, whoever the incumbent president party gets like swept, blown out of the water. But it just seems like they're choosing bad candidates, right?
Yeah.
So Oz is not
Oz, J.D. Vance, Herschel Walker. These are like really, really bad candidates. And it's like a coin flip at this point. And pretty much, I don't know. I think Pennsylvania's like a little bit more, but like, I don't know.
I think after Trump, they just decided, like we can kind of run whoever.
I don't think they did that. I don't think the Republican Party did that on purpose. I think that like those kind of people are just really good at winning primaries because they have like a little bit more namesake than like, establishment, like a state a state level representative in Pennsylvania isn't going to have the pull that Dr. Oz has, So like in a primary, that's good. And then once they are the nominee, the Republican Party's like, yeah, fuck it. Who cares? Let's just get behind him. Because that's, for all the awful shit they do try to win.
Yeah.
J.D. Vance has got that Peter Thiel money behind him.
Yeah. I've never seen Hillbilly Elegy. I gotta watch it before he wins.
I've probably talked about this a million times in the show, but the fucking shit baffles me because I remember when Trump won, liberals loved Hillbilly Elegy because they thought it explained the white working class. And like I was just running around losing my shit on everyone going, he works for Trump. Like, what is wrong with you? How dumb are you that you can get tricked into thinking like somebody who literally is like an advisor or something at that point is a liberal or whatever. And it's, I don't know, just I told you so. He's like literally running as a Trump guy now.
Oh, should we pour one out for Tulsi? She left the left this week.
Yeah, wait, I heard about that.
I was honestly shocked. I thought she did this like 2 years ago.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, this is like when like a celebrity dies and you're like, Meatloaf was alive?
So Tulsi Gabbard, for those of I see some people like on some version of fucking leftist on Twitter that like I don't think, but I see like some people like really like Tulsi, and it blows my fucking mind. Like I've like looked into her like past, like before she was involved in politics. She grew up in like a surfer cult. Like she's a fucking wild person. Yeah. And her politics are really bad. So like
she's like bad. I'm like Jimmy Dore gray zone politics.
She's also like way too into Modri. Is that the
Modi?
Modi. Who is like another kind of fucking bad person.
Yeah, I don't know. She
shit.
occupies this weird space for people that like think it's a good thing to not have ideological consistency and think that like that fucking guy was yelling at me about Greenwald last night and saying like it's actually good that he doesn't stick with these outdated labels because he like transcends all this shit. But these people are just, I don't know, you look at them and they're like, going on and on about elites and powers that be, but can't really identify that to capital itself. So, if you do that long enough, you're just going to end up, it's just going to turn into the Jews at some point.
Yeah.
Is the thing that they identify as the elite thing that's controlling everything or whatever.
The globalists.
And I'm just going to throw it out there. She's hot, and I think a lot of like weird crank guys she's the hottest girl at the extremely unattractive comic book convention that is politics. So they just get fixated on her.
Yeah, I mean it's funny how basically it's a for thee and not me thing. Like I am above partisan labels and ideological fixtures of any kind, but everybody else who disagrees with me is like a quote unquote left liberal or what have you. But the thing about Tulsi I always found sort of telling is she is very she's not anti-war. She doesn't use that term specifically. She says anti-regime change war.
Yeah.
So she's like against, toppling sovereign governments, which, I agree with, but she's not opposed at all to like heavy military spending to take out like non-state actors like ISIS, to like bomb the shit out of the Middle East wherever there's like possibly a whiff of like a, quote unquote terrorist network or anything. So it's not anti-war, it's not anti-imperialism. It's a realist lens on foreign policy, which sometimes seems like it's anti-imperialism, but it's really not. It's just kind of like a more old-fashioned traditional American imperialism.
I feel like she gets like a lot of people who stan her are like people who are very anti-war on paper, and you think at first like, oh, that's cool, like you're all for peace, right? And like we shouldn't be spending all this money on killing people. And they're like, well, we shouldn't be spending all this money. That's like that. It's mainly just that it costs too much and it's big government. Like that's their issue, not that it's killing and dismembering people.
Yeah,
right.
Or like the
American lives.
libertarian kind of point of view, or like the posture as being against war because they're against like the state and they think the state is what causes war, but they love big capital, and you're like, well, who do you think is acting through the state to orchestrate this sort of expansion and stuff like that? What do you think expansion comes from? Why is this happening with places where there's all this oil and all this shit, or lithium and stuff? Libertarians, by the way, tweeted powerful LP Nevada representation at Skankfest this week. So good job, guys. This is one of those like individual chapter Libertarian Party Twitter accounts that's always tweeting about like the age of consent is too high or whatever.
You should not have to be 12 in order to go into a haunted house.
Woo! All these big guys were like, yeah!
I swear the touching wasn't intentional.
I wanted to bring my girlfriend to the police haunted house.
Yeah. She's not scared of the clouds with the horns. What the fuck are we talking about?
Tulsi. Oh, did you see that video? The two people like yelling at AOC during a town hall. Yeah. They like stood up and they were like, "You are not doing enough to stop nuclear war." It's like, dude, like, I don't know, dude. I think AOC kind of has like the inverse Tulsi thing, is that like she's also like visibly attractive, so she gets like the most anger that of like any politician almost from people on the somewhere on the left. But like, dude, like, I don't know. I don't think she's great. Like, she's definitely does a lot of shit I don't really fuck with, but like, she's not going to be able to stop nuclear war.
Yeah, that is a really interesting, like, that. You're right. The same guys treat her. It's like a weird misogynistic complex where because AOC has almost good politics, they need to be furious at her for like not being perfect. And then with Tulsi, because she has almost really bad politics, she must be apologized for, defended or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, I think she deserves criticism for what they were criticizing her for, which is giving, funneling more money and weapons into Ukraine and just making the situation worse and helping push us to the brink of nuclear war. But to like compare that to Tulsi as if that's a better sort of figurehead for your movement is insane.
Tulsi's not currently in office anywhere, right?
Right, but she like left the Democratic Party, and AOC should do the same thing or whatever. And like,
where's she going?
The forward.
Is she going to Andrew
forward?
Play the music.
Yes, play the music.
Yeah. Welcome to the Forward Party.
It's not left, it's not right. Guess what, motherfucker? We're going straight up. I mean, forward. I guess that's the direction. I don't know. Yang 2020.
You ever read their tweets? They're like incomprehensible.
No, I had to unfollow them immediately. I also unfollowed the People's Party. I don't know. I like the idea of third parties, but everyone that's tried it so far sucks so fucking bad.
It's like, if you really, I don't know, I beat this drum many a time, but like, if you really want to bring down the two-party system, you have to look at its actual weaknesses, which is the fact that there is no commitment that comes with using a ballot line. You can literally say anything you want and run for whatever party nomination you want. Like, how do you not take advantage of that if you actually want to bring down the system instead of like attacking it at its strongest possible point, which is like a ballot line, like trying to break through the things in the general election. It's just like not going to work until you actually go through that process of trying to blow it up from the inside.
Yeah, you gotta go DEFCON 3 on it.
Oh yeah. Speaking of,
Oh boy.
I don't know if we have.
I didn't like super follow that, but do we have time to get into that?
You don't super follow Kanye West?
I don't. Yeah. No, I mean like
I just super followed Kanye the other day after his.
I think he's. I think I have him muted. Like I have like his name muted, and so he's too annoying. But what happened? What was that?
He tweeted like this thing that was. It was really weird because he said like, "I'm falling asleep right now," but which is an insane way to start a tweet. But when I wake up, I'm going.
Yeah, dude, save that in your drafts. Save that for morning. Do not tweet while sleepy.
He's going Roseanne mode.
Yeah, well, it sounds like an ambient thing or something, but like to call it like Babe Ruth style, like when I wake up, is just insane human behavior, just on any level outside of Twitter. But he said, when I wake up, I'm going DEFCON 3 on all caps, the Jewish people or something. Or Jewish people. Yeah, it wasn't the Jews, it was Jewish people. Still, I mean, I don't know what the distinction there is.
That's usually what the opposite of what people say. They're like, I'm not talking about Jewish people, I'm talking about the Jews. And he's talking like
The next sentence of the tweet was, and by the way, I can't be anti-Semitic because black people are Jew. But,
can't argue with that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, in all fairness, well, DEFCON is not a real thing, but DEFCON 3 isn't actually that bad. It's DEFCON 1 that you should be worried about because it goes like down to the most serious thing.
Here's the thing.
So he was not going that hard on the Jewish people.
Right.
Just 3.
Yeah, maybe he was a 2 the night before.
Maybe he's going up. Yeah, he's like, it's going to get better for Jewish people in the morning.
Yeah, he just had a wild week. Like Kanye might have had the worst week yet. Plug the show. Hey, he did like on the weekend he did a fashion show with Candace Owens wearing a White Lives Matter shirt.
Yeah,
he did. He posted something on Instagram that was like a DM from Diddy yelling at him for that. And he was like, I know the Jews made you send this to me, which is like fucking insane.
Jesus.
And then he got kicked off Instagram. Then he tweeted that. Then he had this like Tucker Carlson interview that was also airing over 2 nights, I think. That like he said some like kind of crazy shit on it, but then Vice leaked things that they edited out of the interview. At one point, Kanye was telling Tucker that he's like, I think one of my kids has been replaced with an actor, and they're trying to influence the rest of my children. Like, this dude is fucked, man. Like,
dude, he watched the rehearsal. Fucked with his head.
Season 2, man, get him on there.
Wait, I'm gonna go back to the forward party real quick. This is a tweet I found a while back from them. What is one major issue in your local community that you would like to see the government fix? And then somebody quote tweets it and says, nailed it. Our politics have been nationalized all the way down to the most local level. We need to get back identification of community issues and election of candidates who have actual plans to improve things for their constituents. Nailed it. That's the question. What the fuck does any of that mean?
Yeah.
I was like trying to follow it. I was doing the fucking person doing math in their head gif. Like,
there's no, what does nationalized all the way down to the most local level mean?
It's like school board elections have now been politicized, I guess.
Did they just predictive text that?
That's what it sounds like. That they're the predictive text party.
Yeah, you missed the first part of that tweet, which was, I'm a bit sleepy right now, but...
Finally, a party for us against the real enemy.
Because Kanye West can do entryism into the forward party. They're
that
designing
makes so much. Don't even say it out loud. Makes so much fun.
Well, the thing is, though, they're designing it so it's not a party yet. It's because they don't want that to happen. They don't want an actual like democratic structure moving in and like deciding things because they want it to be like managed by these couple consultants and Andrew Yang.
They want it to just remain a Twitter account.
Yeah, basically.
Here's the thing. Like, if Kanye makes an actual effort to become president, like, I don't think there's anything in our system that can stop him. And that really scares me. Like,
Pete Davidson.
That sounds... It sounds crazy, but like, does that sound any crazier than telling somebody in 2014 that Trump would win? I don't think that's any crazier. Like,
Right.
and he's got, like I said, like once you get in the primaries, like that name recognition, like you know, there'll be 20 different people running, and then like Kanye would just like say crazy shit to all of them, and people will be like, you know, I kind of like this Kanye fella.
Yeah. Well, he's certainly embracing the politics that would make that happen.
Yeah, it's all culture war bullshit. Like that's all anybody cares about because they know nothing is ever getting fixed. So at least if you can punish people for being queer or whatever, like that's like, I can vote for that. Like,
Right.
Yeah. I don't know. That'd be kind of cool. He'd be insane.
yeah, I mean, Twitter would be fun again. Imagine the day that Kanye gets COVID. Like,
Yeah. He already knows how to go DEFCON on things. That's a requirement for the job. All right. Is there anything else we should get to before we get the fuck out of here?
Well, they did the White Lives Matter shirts, and Candace Owen was quoted as saying that white men right now are as oppressed as I think black people were in the Jim Crow South. And I would just love to sit down with her and like have a discussion. And if we disagree, I can just be like, well, that's your privilege speaking.
Yeah.
Candace Owens, come on the show.
Do that weird, like, edgelord judo with her.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh.
Yeah. You like, how dare you talk to a person of whiteness like this?
Right.
Oh, you're doing mental gymnastics? I'm doing mental kung fu, dude.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was the worst. This week sucks with Andrew. Let's do some plugs, boys. Plug them podcasts. Where can people find you, Andrew?
You can find me on Twitter at Andrew Hilary US. I am currently on the road doing comedy all along up and down the Eastern Seaboard, and I have like 3 shows booked. It's fine. Everything's fine. You can also check out my show. It's called The Worst Week Yet, but you can call it whatever you want. It's funny. We talk about the world being fucked up. Listen this week. It'll be like half of the same stories we just talked about here. It's going to be great.
Yeah, and you can follow me at Bradical Pearson on Instagram and Twitter. You can follow the show Self Worst on just Instagram at Self Worst, and it's on all the pod apps. Everybody in this room has been on an episode, including Murray, the cat. He's been on it. Look for him. See if you can find which episode he's in. He's in one.
That makes sense, actually. Yeah.
Also, Brad's recent episode about was featured me as a guest, and we talked a lot about my broken penis. So if you want to hear some dark, like really fucked up shit about penis surgery, check it out.
It's a very in-depth conversation about penile anatomy.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
At Andersley here on Twitter, Dursley on Instagram, andersley.substack.com. Got some fun stuff in the pipe there. And, yes, next week, if you are in New York, come out to Botanical Comedy. That's going to be on October 21st at 9 p.m. at Misfit Kava in Bushwick. We got a fun-ass comedy show. Very funny people, including Denise Taylor, Abe Gatling, Tim Platt, Kath Barbadoro, and myself come out. That's 9 p.m. Misfit Kava in Bushwick, October 21st.
Listen to my other show, Why You Mad, and that's my only plug. It's finished. Yeah. The Forward Party with Andrew Yang.